What is going on, guys? I wanted to make a video about Call of Duty esports in the APAC region. I don't want to touch on the other regions because I don't really know much about them, and I don't want to touch on areas that I have no idea about. But pretty much it's going to be mainly about the CWL and the players in our region as a whole. It's going to be very simple. Three topics: what we're capable of, what we deserve, and how we can be better. Um, it's going to be a pretty opinionated video, so if you're not one to usually like my opinions, the exit button's fucking somewhere on the screen right now, so off you go. Um, I want to talk about what we're capable of as a region, because when we talk about the CWL, we've received some pretty amazing things in the past. We've received amazing things in Black Ops 3, got a little bit worse. That's alright. But in the past, we have had a top 5 place in at champs, a top 6 place in at champs, which this in itself proves that we are able to compete at a top level internationally. In terms of finances in our region, which we've lacked in the IW season, and we've lacked in every pretty much season prior to Black Ops 3, I feel like there are big reasons to that. One, some people see it as because of the results have been pretty bad in the Black Ops 3 and IW season. So they think that we no longer deserve that, which I think is completely false. I think that we have been completely capable of getting those results, but because players are too fucking stuck to loyalty in certain issues, they do not form the teams that are capable of getting those results. And this is purely because we have a scene that is full of people that get butthurt over a few pixelated characters on a Twitter screen, and now all of a sudden they don't want to team with them. And I feel like that just doesn't really happen in other regions. I could be wrong, but to me that's mind-blowing. People are missing out on getting extra money, winning extra money for their own pocket because they're getting butthurt at a single tweet. Orgs as well. Orgs do a fair bit for our community when you think about, the size of the scene. They put a lot of money in for not much return. But they are investing in a scene that should get bigger. And the reason why it should get bigger is that in APAC, for example, the fan base in Call of Duty is so big, but we're not tapping into the right areas. I'll give you a good example. I was just at Armageddon just this past weekend. I hung out at the Call of Duty booth, got this hat, fucking love it. And I was asking some Call of Duty players that I literally asked them, I made sure that, they were a general fan of Call of Duty, whether or not they knew what the CWL was. 1 out of 10 people said that they knew what the CWL was. And that's fucking mind-blowing to me. Like, how the fuck does 1 person out of 10 Call of Duty players know what our competitive scene is? And it's pretty simple. I look at other esports. I'm on fucking Twitter browsing all day, Instagram, Facebook all day, every day, and I see no promotional shit for the CWL in our region. Not our events, not our players, not our teams, nothing. So people don't know where to go, and it especially hurts when we're broadcasting on MLG.TV, which is a place where only competitive players know what that is. We have so much potential in terms of fan base to bring in more people. In the countries of New Zealand, Australia, and Asia, has a fucking millions of people, and we can't fucking tap more than a few hundred viewers. And that's another thing. We have, if I was to compare from AW to Black Ops 3, some people talk about our viewership and to why, we're failing a little bit. I think that that's bullshit. When I look at the ACL events in AW, our shitty, if a top 8 team was versing a top 7 team, that match would get maybe about 200 viewers on Twitch. In Black Ops 3 season, where they actually supported it, that got 2,000 viewers, and that was just those matches, right? That's an 1,000% increase in viewership. Not to mention our top 1 versus top 2 matches where we were still getting 10,000 to 20,000 viewers. That is crazy. Now, it may not be compared to what we have in America and Europe because they already have an established fan base. We need to grow that, And it's not just on Activision. There are many things that comes into this. Whoever makes a decision, whether or not it's Activision or ESL, they need to fucking advertise our shit, right? If we have an event on, spend the extra money. It is a proven fact that in business, advertising works. You do it in the right places. Do it on Facebook, do it on Instagram. You know, pretty much everyone that plays Call of Duty is either going to have a Facebook or an Instagram. It will bring in more viewers. I guarantee you it. Also, the players. We need to make more content, right? And it's hard. Like, I get it. I make content. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make lots and lots and lots of content. Then I get lazy. Don't do it, you know? But we need to at least try. And for players that don't have the equipment, that's even harder for you. And this is where the orgs come into place. Orgs, I see so many of you say, we want our players to do content, but then you don't supply your players with the means to do it. If they need a webcam, get them a webcam. If they need an Elgato, get them an Elgato. Put them on a strict, like, we have contracts. Put this shit in their contract. This shit is important because we need to grow our player fan base as well. Talking about like player fan bases, in Black Ops 3, for example, when we had that support, I'll use myself for example. I was in a top 2 team, dropped down to about top 5, and then attended COD Champs. So it was an okay, pretty good year. My Twitter followers alone increased by, well, it pretty much doubled, so 100% increase, right? And that was just in about 20 weeks of being broadcasted over a 52-week year. Like, that is a pretty big growth. You imagine if we had those sorts of numbers again, all of a sudden my Twitter account goes from 3,000 followers to 6,000. And over the years it will compound because you bring in new fan bases, new players, all sorts of shit. So these are all things that we really need to focus on. Content, advertising, more support for our players. I just saw on Twitter before, we were talking about salaries, whether or not players deserve salaries. I put my opinion out there. I said that each player is valued differently. In my opinion, if more players are bringing in more, interactions with fans, they're creating more content, they're creating their growth, even if they're just a better player overall, I feel like a team shouldn't be salaried the same amount. It should be player by player base, and it's determined based on how much work and how much value they have. And that's the thing. Some players in our region, okay, fair enough. They get sent to these events. That's all they deserve. Other players, they may not. They may be more skilled. For example, like a top 8 player isn't going to be salaried, but like in my opinion, a player like Dens or Shocks should be. I don't know if they are, but I'm just saying. To me, they should be. In terms of the amount, that's really up for the player and the organization to work out. Like, as a player, you should know your value. And as an organization, you should know like how much you're willing to pay for a certain thing. So I'm hoping for World War II, we get the announcement in a few days. I hope that we get more support. The only thing that I ask is, please, players, put in more effort. Don't let your stupid high school mentality of loyalty, where if you get pissed off by one person, you'll never team with them again to form a better team, hurt you, hurt your team, hurt the region, because it does. Also, create more content. Organizations, help your players out even more. I know that you guys are doing as much as you can, but certain things are important, and content is one of them. So make sure you push your players to do that. Activision or ESL, don't know who makes the decisions here, but promote our fucking events. Like, stop just expecting growth to magically come out of your ass by a few retweets on Twitter. It's not going to happen. You need to reach out to a certain group of people and draw them in. And that's pretty much like all that I can think of at the moment. I just wanted to create a rant video, 10 minutes long. If you guys agree with me, sweet as, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't, you're probably going to hit the thumbs down button. That's all good. Your opinion's your own. Hopefully, we get a good announcement on Thursday. But anyway, guys, peace.